Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. And if you thought today's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful was going to be just another glamorous birthday party, oh, honey, you are in for a ride. Will Spencer's birthday celebration at the Forrester Mansion was supposed to be one of those gorgeous, over the top events that only these two legendary families can pull off. Shimmering lights, breathtaking floral arrangements, a room full of faces we know and love or love to watch implode, but beneath all the elegance and champagne, something was brewing, something heavy. A mysterious figure named Dylan had been lurking on the edges of this group for weeks, quiet and watchful, and nobody could quite figure out why. Tonight, he made his move. He presented Will with a small, unassuming gift, a worn pendant and a yellowed letter, and in doing so, cracked open a secret that had been buried for years. A secret that changed everything Bill Spencer thought he knew about himself, his family, and the people he trusted most. Let's set the scene properly because the atmosphere alone tells you so much about what's coming. The Forrester mansion is stunning as always, every corner dressed to perfection, every detail curated to signal wealth, taste, and legacy. Will Spencer stands at the heart of it all, and for a moment you almost believe this is just going to be a beautiful night. He's growing up, becoming more emotionally aware, more perceptive, and honestly more like both of these parents than either Bill or Katie probably realize. He carries Bill's intensity and Katie's emotional depth in equal measure, and that combination is what makes what happens next so utterly devastating to watch. The guests arrive, the laughter follows, and the polite conversation fills every corner of that grand room. But if you are paying attention, and some people absolutely are, there is a tension threading through it all. Liam Spencer is watching everything with those careful eyes of his, protective and alert. Steffi and Finn exchange glances that say more than words ever could. They can feel it too. That subtle electricity in the air that tells you something is about to break. And Hope is doing what Hope does best, trying to hold warm together with both hands, hoping that just for once, these families can exist in the same room without the floor caving in. I love Hope for that, I really do. But bless her heart, tonight is not that night. And then there is Dylan. Oh, Dylan. This man has been a quiet enigma for weeks. Always present, always watching, always positioned just slightly outside the circle of conversation. Several characters have noticed him. Liam has noticed him. Bill Spencer, a man who barely acknowledges anyone who isn't directly relevant to his world, has noticed him. And yet Dylan has given nothing away. No grand explanation, no dramatic entrances. Just the steady, observant presence that makes everyone around him vaguely uneasy without being able to say exactly why. That kind of quiet is not accidental. That is the quiet of someone who is carrying something enormous and has been waiting for exactly the right moment. The gift presentation begins, and it is exactly what you would expect from a gathering of this kind. Expensive watches, designer clothing, luxurious items that reflect the status and the resources of everyone present. Will smiles, expresses gratitude, and behaves beautifully, but there is something unmistakable in his eyes. A subtle absence of resonance. These gifts are stunning, but they feel hollow, like wrapping paper without anything truly meaningful inside. It is the difference between being given something expensive and being given something that means something. And I think Will, even at his age, already understands that difference. Then Dylan steps forward, and the room changes. I can't fully explain it, but the writing in this moment is just so effective. Because it isn't chaos or loudness that signals importance here, it is silence. The room quiets almost immediately, and that is everything. Even Bill Spencer, a man who commands every space he enters, narrows his eyes and leans in. Whatever Dylan is carrying in that small, precisely wrapped box, everyone can feel that it matters. The gift itself, compared to everything else in that room, looks almost humble. A simple box, modest wrapping, no extravagance, but Dylan holds it with a weight that has nothing to do with its size. And when he speaks, his voice is steady, yet unmistakably emotional. He looks directly at Will and says that this is not just a birthday gift. It is something that belongs to Will, something that always has. Imagine hearing that. Imagine being a teenager, surrounded by your family, at your own birthday party, and someone looks you dead in the eye and says those words, the confusion that must ripple through you, the pull of something inexplicable. Will opens the box, and inside is an old pendant, with age, clearly cherished by whoever kept it all these years, and a folded letter with yellowed edges, preserved carefully over a very long time. The atmosphere in that room shifts like weather. You can feel it. When Will asks what this is, his voice barely above a whisper, Dylan takes a breath that feels like the accumulation of years. He tells Will that it is part of his story, a part that no one ever told him. And that is when everything erupts beneath the surface. Katie's face goes pale. Her hand moves instinctively toward Will's shoulder. Will's expression hardens into something between fury and fear. And Dylan, unflinching, continues, explaining that the pendant belonged to someone who loved Will deeply, someone who wanted him to have it when the time was right. Bill can't hold back. He steps forward, commanding and fierce, demanding that Dylan stop speaking in riddles and say what he came to say. And Dylan does. He reveals that the pendant is connected to a hidden chapter in Will's family history, a secret that had been deliberately buried, kept in the dark to protect the people involved. And as the truth comes out piece by piece, the most staggering realization settles over the room. Dylan's presence in all of their lives is not coincidence. He is not a stranger passing through. He is woven into the story in ways no one anticipated. The reactions are everything. Liam struggles to process what he's hearing. Steffi and Finn are visibly shaken. Hope covers her mouth, and I genuinely cannot imagine standing in the room and watching this unfold. But Katie falls apart in a way that is heartbreaking and complicated all at once. Because when Will turns to her, searching her face for reassurance and finding guilt instead, the question comes tumbling out of him like some things he's been afraid to ask. He asks if she knew, and the pause before her answer is more damning than any confession. Katie says she was trying to protect him, that he was young, that the situation was complicated, and Will's quiet, sharpening response, asking whether it was complicated or simply something she didn't want him to know, is one of the most emotionally mature things I have ever seen from a character his age. That line cut through everything. Bill turns on Katie then, low and intense, saying that if there was something in their son's past this significant, he had a right to know. And Katie fires back, asking whether Bill truly believes he would have handled it better or whether he simply would have tried to control it the way he always does. The accusation lands, Bill doesn't answer. And that silence says everything. Liam, steady and gentle as always, moves close to Will and tells him that no matter what this changes, he is still family. That doesn't go away. And Will hears it and nods, but you can see that the comfort only reaches so far. Because this isn't about relationships right now. This is about identity, about looking down at your own life and suddenly not recognizing the shape of it. Dylan, watching the fallout he has set into motion, finally speaks again. He says he didn't come to hurt anyone. He came because secrets like this don't simply vanish. They grow, they create distance and confusion and resentment, and then he says something to Will that is genuinely beautiful in its simplicity that will deserve the chance to decide what this truth means for him. Not Bill, not Katie, Will. The impact of this moment cannot be overstated. This is not just a plot twist. This is a structural earthquake beneath the Spencer and Logan families. Will's sense of self has been shaken at its foundation, and at an age when identity is already fragile and searching, that is an enormous thing to carry. Katie's secret, whatever its full nature, has fractured the trust between her and her son in a way that will take significant time and effort to reveal, if it can be revealed at all. Bill's reaction is telling too, because beneath all of that explosive anger is fear, the fear that even he, the great Bill Spencer, did not have full control over his own family's story. That is a deeply unsettling thing for a man like him to reckon with. And Dylan's role is now permanently altered. He is no longer a mystery at the edges. He is at the center of everything that comes next. This episode genuinely floored me. The way Dylan's reveal was handled quietly, deliberately, with that small worn pendant doing more emotional heavy lifting than any grand gesture, was masterful storytelling. And Will's response was remarkable. He didn't explode, he asked questions. He felt everything in real time, and watching that was devastating in the best possible way. The Bold and the Beautiful has delivered something genuinely layered here, and I'm absolutely here for where this is going. What we witnessed at Will Spencer's birthday party was never really a celebration. It was a reckoning, a truth long hidden finally finding its way into the light, no matter the cost, and now every character in that room has to decide what they do with it. So I have to ask you, do you think Katie was right to keep the secret to protect Will, or did she only end up protecting herself? And what do you think Dylan's full connection to this family really is? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely want to know what you are thinking. If you haven't already, please hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a moment of the story as it continues to unfold. We are just getting started.